Alrighty, we are recording today's workshop. Okay, so today we're just going to talk. I'm going to go back and forth, and remember, folks, I know how to do this. Okay, so ask a bunch of questions. Ask things that you want to come about. I'll try and get some conversation going or dialogue about what specifically some things that I think that'll help you or understand why you might want to use OBS inside of StreamYard. That's really why not just go straight StreamYard, or why not just go OBS? That's kind of what I'm going to tell you, the difference in why you might want to do one of these things or the other. So that's what's today's topic's going to be, and how to do some other stuff. Now, once I initiate that and get that going, we can go on to and ask whatever you want. Hey, how do you do this? Hey, how do you do that? Because I want this to be a productive workshop that helps you guys, especially you guys that showed up. But anybody watching this later, watching the show later, and you're watching this, feel free to, in the community, ask your comments or questions there as well. All right, that being said, let me share my screen. All right, you should see this. It's a setup, I hope you can, of this is the StreamYard over here. Okay, thank you. That's StreamYard on that side, and then over on this side is OBS. One thing I always like to tell people too is you may have OBS set up differently than I do. A lot of times it opens up and it's this big. Sometimes you might be using Studio, and Studio is where you have a preview, which is a preview screen, and then the actual program, what's being pushed out. So you might even see those two screens on yours. It could be different, could be a different, could be white background instead of the black background that I have, the dark mode. Also, you may have your controls, mine that are here, they could be down here, they could be over here, because you can move these things. So I always like to preface this is the way I have it set or whatever. And then you can always move stuff up. Like this is more, okay, so now both screens are completely full and I can work with a lot of stuff if I have a lot of scenes or a lot of sources. And I don't expect you to know this. I would suggest you go back and watch a bunch of the other workshops or tips that I've done on OBS to teach you more about scenes and sources. Scene transitions, one of these things, I rarely look at this. So this is one that you can actually shrink down and make it that big. So you have the luxury and ability to do these kind of things, to manipulate and move around. I can move this whole thing up here if I wanted to. Just keep in mind, you don't have undo in OBS, probably the biggest request that they have ever. So I like to be able to see all of my scenes and sources, because that's mostly what I'm working with. Now, so you can understand the structures of scenes and sources. Scene is like when I want to go to my table. All right. So, and I don't have that turned on, but if I wanted to show my table, I have a camera set up that's pointing down that I can go to that quickly without having to screen share or anything. I can just hit table and me. I have a little side image of myself and that. Okay. So that, again, I don't want to sit here and dwell on OBS unless you guys want to later. What I'm trying to get to is, what are the reasons that you would use just OBS? Because OBS will allow you, by RTMP, I don't even know, something protocol. You can push this out to a live stream. Let's see, to YouTube if you wanted to send this out to stream. Okay, so stream, here's a custom stream, here's the restream where I used to go to restream straight from here, and I just run everything from OBS and it goes right into restream. So you ask yourself, so why would I use restream and OBS? Well, restream, first of all, it's free to go to YouTube, Facebook, profiles, and Twitch. Those are the three channels I usually go to. That's why I'm only mentioning those. It goes to a ton more. But what they do is they take that signal, that RTMP signal, into their environment and push that out for you to all those places. That's why you might want to use just OBS and just Restream. That might be a reason why. Okay. I don't do it this way. I use StreamYard, and it's kind of the opposite. So what I do is, I'm going to show you here. Let me screen share again. So if I have, if I'm right here, I'm going to take it off of studio mode. Most of the time I'm off of studio mode just to take it out of, for real estate. I have 5 monitors and I don't have enough room. So you will too. A lot of times if you're doing a production and you only have 1 monitor, you might have StreamYard up in the top corner here. You might have your OBS up here. And then that way you could have a presentation down here in the bottom left. And then you might have something else over here. You might have a bunch of things because you only have 1 monitor in just those small areas. So you can do that. The thing is, it's going to be tougher to work when you're trying to look at words and things, and on here, you know, when you're trying to use these things right here, it's going to be tough to do. Okay. So why would I want to, okay. So the other thing is I can do, oh, I didn't mean to pull that out. Hold on. Let me put that back if I can. I have no idea whether I'll be able to. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Why would I want to use just OBS? OBS gives me all those cool things. I can have right here, this is scrolling. This has my YouTube channel come in, my Twitter. I can just throw that up on screen and it comes up on my screen, individual screen. Really cool, really awesome. When I do the game show, I can put my own places where I want and bring the people into the little squares to where I want them to go. Okay. Where StreamYard, I'm going to get into that now. Let's bounce over to StreamYard. What? Who did that? Am I missing something? I'm just kidding.
No, it's just me. I'm making sure your headset doesn't buzz.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. All right. So right here, look, I have a test. I keep this, Heather and I have this test all the time that we have just on there all the time. So I'm going to enter the broadcast studio. And if you want to know more about StreamYard, you're not totally sure on how to get there, all that kind of stuff, I have videos on that as well. I always display my name as nothing because a lot of times I don't display my name, but if I want to, I will put my name in. But many times, like on the game show, I have no reason to because I'm bringing in a full screen. I don't want my name sitting up there blocking everything. So here we are when we come into, I can change the background, stuff like that in StreamYard. It's not necessarily a tutorial on StreamYard. Heather, if you'll come in so that way I can kind of demo, she can come in because we share an account. But what I want to show you is the fact that you can, as soon as I bring a person in, it takes up the whole screen. So this might be a benefit. I'm not going to bring her in yet, but you can see her down here. You can see where she came into StreamYard. Okay. So if I'm by myself, anything I do like that, the scrolling that I did. Okay. So if I do that scrolling and I turn it on, you're going to see.
Are we pausing for questions? Jolyn has her hand up, so I don't know if you want to be interrupted for that or how you want to do it.
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely. Yeah. Ask while you have the questions. It's always better for me.
Down that
ask.
Where all of the, I don't know what they're called, the videos and the pictures and all that side panel, those are all things that you have uploaded to your StreamYard account to use them within a live show.
Yes, that's a great point. Excellent point. Yes, all of these here are, I went into the brand section over here. Yeah, that was a good question. So I have things here. I can go into comments, banners, brand, and I have chosen brand to get there. So normally it brings you in and you got comments sitting right there. But yes, I go to brand and here's where I've chosen to put the different things that we use. So for example, when I do my intro, all I have to do is click it, starts the intro, and I can turn it off. I mean, it's on and off. It's all or nothing. Just keep that in mind when you hit these. This is when I do the transition. You'll see me do this transition sometimes during the show. All of those things are uploaded to their server and used that way. It's kind of cool. Now backgrounds, I have a background chosen. This is the one I use when Heather and I are on show together, the tool bench, right? So when I'm on there, but you don't see it. If you notice, you don't see it because there's only one person there. You don't get any of the cool thing of the background. Even if I had like the circuit board, you don't do that until you bring in the second person. So when I bring in Heather and Heather, yeah, let's see. Okay. Now you can see that background I've chosen, or when I did the Christmas one, or when I did the, you know, the one that Heather and I do. Sorry, I'm going to remove her back out. So you notice during our live show, when Heather and I do our live show, we are both in there, okay, like this, so that way we can be seen with a background. Now, if I'm were to, hold on, let me get in some, here, I'm going to mute you. There you go. I think that'll work. Let's try that. All right. Hopefully you don't get any. Can you hear me? Everybody hear me? Yes. Okay. I just want to make sure. Okay. So my point here is that, okay, so now let's do that same thing. Remember the scrolling that we talked about, the scrolling YouTube. Watch what happens. Everybody wants it to go on the full screen of StreamYard, but it's not. It's only going to be on mine. It's only going to be on mine because the virtual camera takes up this space. The virtual camera from here is only going to here. It's not doing the full thing. So that's why if you ever notice sometimes like Heather during our show, somebody will send a super chat and you know how it pops up and drops the money and stuff. And I have a thing that I have it do that. Well, when I do that, she immediately goes and hits my solo layout. So now the full screen of me gets all that money because all it would do, it would just do this square. It would only cover this square. Oops. Wow. Must have internet issues. Oh, well, imagine that, huh? And you know, okay, so I'm going to put in Michael. Let me put in Michael this time so you can kind of see. And I'm going to add that back. And now under brand in here, I can turn that Michael on and off. She came in as Heather. I came in as Michael. You don't necessarily have to have that. One of the things that, so that way, if you make a lower third, that's something you have to consider. A lot of people say, I want lower third for me and the guest. Okay. Well, the only thing is I can put a lower third or like this scrolling thing, but it's only going to go on mine. I couldn't get Heather's unless she has something with her virtual camera that would put something there. So that's why they have built in. StreamYard tries to make it as simple as possible. Go ahead, Heather.
Yeah, and even when you do that, if I were to have one on my OBS, like you have one on your OBS, it wouldn't be very visible because of the size of our windows.
Right.
Which
exactly
is why it's good to use what's in.
Now, if you know your guest who's coming on ahead of time, and you know you're only going to have 2 windows, or if you think you're going to have 3 windows, you could actually create a background with a transparent overlay for our videos to show through and let that be a lower third. You can make it as big as you want. It could overlap the image or whatever. So you would use a transparent overlay and drop that right here where it says overlays, just like this. So when StreamYard does that, they could actually have it overlap part of Heather's image, and then the bottom one could be part of my image. They could make it really big, and it would cover whatever's. It's like putting a glass. Let's say you have a glass plane, and you have stickers on that glass plane. We have a sticker with StreamYard, and then we have a sticker with StreamYard live show, and we're going to show everything here, but that glass plane is going to have those stickers in front of it. So that, just think of it that way, as a clear window with those stickers on it that cover that. And that's really what you're building and designing. Jolyn, you have your hand raised. Yes.
Yeah. I noticed that Heather has the tool background now. So that is something that she had to put on for her virtual background, or background first, before, so that she could come in and match what you guys have got. And if you were to take your version of the same thing and throw it up there instead of the Game of Thrones, we would see that way. So it has to. So there is coordination between the two of you to get it to look the way it does.
Exactly. So for example, yes, 100%. If you look over here, I have something called tools right and tools left. Okay, that was my wording. She uses something on her OBS to do that. So if I'm tools right, that means I'm going to select that. And now I have it set up this way. Now, it kind of looked weird at the bottom with the with this. So what I had to do was on this overlay, I went ahead and, okay, there. Let's put the hammers there just to make it look more appealing. So this is an overlay on StreamYard, whereas we're using OBS to get us in the background and the tools. I've had more compliments on
Yeah.
this.
A line. There's a line.
Yeah. Huh.
You just,
Wow.
yeah.
I've had more compliments on this. People like, oh my God, how did you get your backgrounds together? Or other ones like, we actually had our latest sign up. That's what she said. She said in a comment in the YouTube video, she says, that is unbelievable how you guys have matched that up and made that. She said, I saw a couple of your videos. I'm going to join your group for at least a month. I want to check this out because we're doing some cool stuff. So, which is great. I love that anytime. But this is the kind of stuff, this is why you do the OBS, and this gives me the opportunity to do that with OBS. Because otherwise, if I just took this image, the tools right, if I took the tools right image and tried to match it up, because it has green screen ability. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go here. I have green screen ability. Now I have it turned off because I don't want the graphics processor to mess up all my other stuff. StreamYard takes over and makes you do that and everything. So I have that turned off, but they have an option here and I could throw that picture in there. But here's the deal. When you throw that picture in there, you get what you get. Heather, how long did it take us to actually match up all of these lines and all this stuff? Because we had to match. If you think about it, watch, I'm gonna reach my hand up. I can't go any further than that. I can't go over here because it goes off. You know what I'm saying? So we know to stay within here, but we had to match up. I had to match up this line up top. I had to match this red wheel. So it was exactly right. We sat there and made sure
to manipulate it till it worked. And then
the end product's awesome.
Well, what's funny is you would think that it's like mathematical and you could probably figure it out and your size could be the same as my size, but it didn't work that way. And then this is the beauty of using OBS. We have not had to tinker with it whatsoever since we set it up.
Yeah. So what I did was, okay, so when here's what we decided. I said, what if I decide to move me over? Well, now our backgrounds are screwed up because I have one side, she has the other, and she can switch and I can switch. That's all cool. And we did it and we got it back. That's what the left and the right that we do, kind of switch it up. It's kind of cool. It's fun. You know, we have some fun with it. And then I said, well, then our names aren't right. And so I made one like this just as a kind of like a kind of a funny thing, just to say, oh no, Heather's over there. Oh no, Michael's over there, that kind of thing. So we just had some fun with it. You know, this is the tinkering part of what we do. I left the hammers the same and just created a pencil mark where I could draw the other one. So this is the kind of fun stuff you can do. But the thing is, so what we decided, Heather, I talk about it. I said, Heather, I'm going to move you over to the other side. Then that way she knows a transition's coming. So I click the transition and that gives us time. I'm going to move now over to the right side and she's there. And now I got to move my hammers. This is what I didn't move the hammers in time because I can't find them because I'm trying too hard. Oh my God. All right, here we go. Okay, there we go. And then there you go. So, you know, that's what we're doing. And then I forgot to move. And then, okay, there, I moved her. See, so there's a lot of stuff that you have to do behind the scenes. We make a lot of work for ourselves that we just don't, just go do the show and have fun. You know what I'm saying?
It's a digital dance, Michael. It's a digital dance.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, and he steps on my toes like every single week, but whatever.
What was that, Jim?
I say you never find me doing that kind of stuff. I never tinker.
But it's fun to tinker.
Lies.
Yeah. It is fun to tinker. So one thing, and then, you know, like let's go back to this one. And then Heather, we can switch on to our Game of Thrones. You see me, I got it right here. All I have to do is turn this off in OBS because back to Game of Thrones, she's doing the same thing. And it's all, I think you said it during the tip, Jolin, yesterday. It's layers. It's all about layers. Like I have Game of Thrones, then I have game night. I guess I don't have an image in there. Then I have the blurred background I use here. And then I have the blurred 2, a different background for that. And then I have the one that I did for the football. And then, I have all of these. Then I can do the aquarium. I still have the aquarium. So I can do any one of those. And I just sit here and then go work backwards to get them off. So if I want to get back to Game of Thrones, I have to take these 2 off. If I take this one off, it doesn't do any good because this one's on top of it. It's all layered. It's just like taking that glass plane or whatever it is, and putting that in those areas. And I make sure my camera is in front so I don't ever lose myself. If my camera were back here and I chose aquarium, it's just going to be the aquarium. But if I bring my camera back in front of all of these things that I want, then I show up. So that's the layers there. So this is what's convenient and gives you a cool thing for you to demo. Like everybody, they love it. I've done 2-3 things now. They're like, oh my God, how do you do that? StreamYard, I want to be able to do that on mine. You know, how do you do that? Well, if you notice, StreamYard doesn't allow a video in the background, okay? And I pretty much know why they don't, because for them to put for their resources on Chrome to pull that video and keep that going during their live shows and stuff like that is so much more difficult. And you probably can't do it on a phone, and you probably can't do it on, they're all about streaming from whatever device. They want to be able to go in and just use it with ease of use. Now, it's easy to throw a video back there, but we're all thinking desktop. We're not thinking that we're out somewhere on a Pixelbook trying to do this, or we're out on our mobile phone showing you a cool thing out by the ocean front, or let's say Ron right there, back there, if you're back in your backdrop there, that picture, you wanted to show that you're out there with a camera showing those boats and showing you some cool stuff. You want to do that from your phone. You want to start StreamYard from your phone. You don't necessarily want to do that. So, Jolyn, you have a question?
Yeah, I just was you're going back to the sources and being able to drag things around and the layers. That's really, because I was going to ask you, what can you drag them up and down, and then you showed it to us. So that's just really, so if you wanted one, like you did with the cameras, if you had one main camera or a second camera that you wanted first, you can drag them around, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and usually when I have a second camera or whatever, I go straight to like Table and Me. I know that that's Table and Me. That's this camera pointing down.
Gotcha.
With me in a video, as opposed to putting it here, having all of this and trying to go find it. I can just immediately and it has the transition. I can bring it in and blend into it. It's just more appealing that way. And I have no idea whether this one worked, but this is the other table camera that I rarely use. This is the one. Yeah, I don't even have it, I don't think. Do I? No. Oh, other table camera there. Oh yeah, I do. Actually, I do. There you go. So this one, if I want to this is the one like Chris talks about and she uses. She actually talked me into getting the document camera. So I have a document camera right here that I can use for that. And it's very clear. It's 4K. It's all that kind of stuff. It's really nice. And so I can do something there. I don't use it as much because it's off to my right. And for me to be on camera too, whatever, that's just the way I do it. But these are the kind of things that you can bring into the presentation, like Heather, so for example, for everybody to see what I'm doing on StreamYard, we would go to solo layout and show ourselves. Like when we have a guest on, sometimes we'll do, if they're doing a screen share, we'll put the screen share on with just them. And by me having this background, I can do those other things if I want to scroll my credits, my YouTube or whatever. If I want to throw Twitch or whatever, I can put all those in there. That's why I do that. If you look right here up at the top, though, I'm going to show you this because this is pretty cool too. This is one thing that I like that makes the StreamYard part one of the reasons why you would want to do that. When somebody subscribes to me or somebody gives me a super chat or gives me money on Twitch, I have right here, it's called YouTube alerts up here. This is called YouTube alerts. I have a separate scene for the YouTube alerts right here. Subscribe to you from YouTube. So on here, you see nothing. I have Twitch and YouTube. So if they subscribe to me on Twitch or give me biddies, they're not going to give me biddies because I'm not monetized over there. And then YouTube, if somebody subscribes,
Do you want me to demonstrate it, Michael?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can. So I have those two set up in that scene, and might be, you want to recognize people. You want that to show up whenever. So if Heather and I are talking and she sees that money's starting to follow over, she can immediately click my picture and everybody sees it over my image will see the full thing. And that's the way What do you, can you do that for mine on Streamlabs, or are you going to do it for yours? Heather? I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. She may be doing it on hers, which would be cool. So if she has something that happens, you'll be able to see that. So if she...
You have Twitch on? You have the Twitch alerts on?
It is, yeah. Is it not showing up? Somebody subscribing?
That's all right. I can demonstrate it on mine easier.
It may take a while. Yeah. Actually, I could probably go to Streamlabs, right? Yeah, I don't want to interrupt there. Should have been more prepared, because this is one that
yeah, it's a really good reason to do it. So
yeah, a good reason to do a virtual camera, because like Heather, she's showing her art behind her. She might be showing her desktop. She's putting herself up in a circle. All of that stuff she's doing, she couldn't do that. Now notice that it's in the side screen, you know, so it doesn't really go with whatever we're doing or talking about if we're on this or whatever. That's all cool. But to really get the full screen to capture exactly what's going on there, it's really kind of nice to be able to push that out. You couldn't do this in StreamYard. Let's see. Did you get it?
no, I just realized how easy it is if you actually go to the right website.
Oh, I see. It's funny. Well, it's a lot easier if you do that. You're right.
It's totally easier. Yes, it's totally. All right, here we go.
All right, so there is awesome, and just subscribe. So when someone subscribes, you get to see this little image down there, and I'll spotlight Heather so that way you can see
Well,
that.
it's not
See
a good
right
example, I guess, but
there. Yeah.
there you can see it, little dancing dude. Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. So that's what that's what it can do on your screen, and that's when, you know, like, but if it's off to the side like that, it's only going to show up on hers. So that's the difference in the kind of thing that you can do. So let me see.
Which doesn't really matter when you're doing your own show. Like I do my own show, so all my alerts go over my thing. But when Michael and I work together and all of his alerts are coming across his screen, that's where he's saying then we make him full screen so that
just
his
to
alerts
show
can be seen. Makes sense. I think that's sensible. Makes sense to everybody.
So for example, I'm just going to show you really quickly and put this over the screen. Do you guys see the screen right here? This is Streamlabs OBS. Okay. So Streamlabs OBS, whenever I can test, these are tests right here. So if I get a new subscriber, there you go. This is what it does. It blows up on my screen and it says Michael Daniels just subscribed to you. Now I'm going to show you so you can see how that happens on this. Test a super chat. So when I get a super chat, I can just click this button. This one thing that Streamlabs does, it's so awesome. I can just click that button and immediately, so what Heather does is she'll hit my, go ahead. Go ahead, do it. There you go. So she puts it on screen. So the full screen, you get to see the money, you get to see who did that. She's doing that, pulling that up on screen when somebody does. I'll do another super chat there. So now you're going to see it straight up. We wouldn't be able to do this unless we had OBS, something to bring that in and show that on screen. That's the key thing. All right, Ron, I see you have your hand raised.
So Michael, one of the concerns I have is when you're doing a show, I mean, the last thing you want in the world is for you to have problems, right? You won't do your camera going off, the audio goes off, you know, something gets messed up. In your experience, when people do this, what are the mistakes that they make? What are the common mistakes? Because obviously OBS, as you add this to StreamYard, is more complicated, right? It adds another level of training, of expertise, and more likely something's going to get screwed up. So where do you see people making the mistakes? What clues can you give us as to where we should not go, or what are the problems that you've seen?
That's a great question. It really is. And here's why that's a good question, is because sometimes you don't know. Yeah, I mean, as a new user, you're not going to know why that's messed up or whatever. So then, and people don't want to dig in and go through and figure that out. So here's my tips. One thing I do, okay, so you have to decide on certain things, okay? So if you're going to bring sound in through StreamYard, then just use StreamYard as your sound in and sound out. OBS, if you're going to use OBS and you have that show up, use that as your sound if that's what you wanted to do. And if you'll notice right here, I'm going to go to File, Settings, and Audio. I'm going to go to Audio. Notice I have no sounds at all, nothing. No desktop sounds, no mic, no nothing. I want OBS to not do any of my sounds. Now I'm different, and here's why I'm different. Because sounds can become an issue. You have to make sure, key things you have to make sure is your Windows sounds. So down here, all right, if I go to the sounds, I think it's either sounds, yeah, there, sounds. Okay, so if you look on my sounds, if I go to playback, my default is voice meter input. If I go to recording, this would be like your microphone or whatever. I use voice meter. Oh, I don't have it as the default. Okay, I have cable A as the default, but I can change that to aux or voice meter, okay? It's working. First of all, let me make sure that you understand it's working, but I push everything to voice meter. I could push it to a cable. If you want to push it to your mic, you can do it to your mic. I can add those things to that. This is Windows sounds. I'm really getting deep here, but so that's why I let voice meter do everything. Okay, I'm just going to give you an example. This isn't meant to be a voice meter thing, but you asked me, and this is one of the things why I do this. Voice meter controls everything for me. If I want you to hear me, okay, I'm going to press B1. So right now you shouldn't be able to hear me. Do you hear me? I don't know. You probably can't hear me. Oh, you do hear me. Okay, so I'm sorry. Okay, so why is that? Here's why. B2. Right here under the microphone, I have selected, if you look, voice meter aux. And now, again, I don't mean this to be a lesson in voice meter because I could sit here forever. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to get back to why. Okay, so now you won't be able to help me if I hit B1 and not B.
Right.
So I can control who that is. And then one of you speak.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing.
You see this meter bouncing?
Yep.
If I want to push that sound back in here, because you hear me whenever I've hit B2, right?
No, we can't hear you when you do.
Right. Okay. So if I do B2 right now, that means echo could possibly happen because you're getting sound. Exactly. When one talks, you're going to get echo. So this is how I resolve and keep those things from happening. Trust me. These are the things that you have to know. Go ahead.
So Michael, I just want to interject with Ron's question is, how do you prevent issues from taking place with all the complication that you add? When you walk into StreamYard, that's all you really need to go live, boom. Or if you just walk into OBS, that's all you really need to go live, boom. When you put the two together, yes, it becomes more complicated. How do you keep issues from cropping up? The first thing would be education, but I would start with, because that's hard. It's hard to say, just learn the product, right? I mean, what do I need to know is the question. So what I would say is, what do you want to do? When you're watching a production and you see things happen, hey, I would like to have my YouTube icon pop up and my thing slide out like I saw Michael do. I would like to be able to do that. Learn that. Make that the thing you learn. Put that into practice. And that's the one thing that you've added. Then once you get to a point where you're like, that's easy peasy. I can do like 15 more of those types of things. That's where you add, again, layers. It's the same word. Layers of difficulty to the thing. When I first started this, when I first walked into OBS, I was like, I want to be able to control this camera because I had no other way to do it. That's it. I didn't have any of the other stuff. I didn't have voice meter. I didn't have StreamYard. I didn't have Streamlabs, which brought up the little alerts. I didn't have any of that stuff. I just had my camera. And I wanted to be able to switch from this camera to this camera. That's all I wanted to be able to do. So that was all that I had, because that's what I needed at that time. So what in answer to your question in my mind is, first decide what it is that you want to do, start small, learn those things, become a champion at those things, and add to your repertoire. That's the way you do it.
Exactly. And the reason that I started off with sound, it doesn't matter what your video does. Sound is the most important thing on anything you're doing. When you're teaching, the sound, you could have your video, your camera, all of a sudden webcam goes out. You could still do the thing because it's the vocals, it's the non-reverb, it's the non-echo. So that to me is the most important. Fix the sound first. You can still do the whole show or whatever you need to do, but that's why I started with sound. And Heather's absolutely right. And my thing is, I'm going to tell you right now,
Hashtag Heather's right.
Test it. Do some testing. Don't just go to your show thinking that you're going to be able to do that. If you want to do StreamYard, they make it simple. It is fairly simple. Ease of use, go do it, boom, and you'll be done. But if you want all the extras, add an extra each week, but test it. Don't just do it. Man, I can't get the sound in. I'm trying to play this video for everybody and the sound won't come in. You got to test it. Okay, so what sounds are you using? Are you using the system sounds? Are you using OBS sounds? Are you using StreamYard sounds? Are you using voice meter sound? There's so many things and layers that play into it. Remember, the other thing is too, do you go on mobile and do your show sometimes? Do you do on Pixelbook? You're not going to be able to download on a Pixelbook. You can't download OBS. So you won't get any of that. So try to make your shows as consistent too in the way you're going to go live all the time. So those are the tips that I would give, and exactly what Heather said. Just do it, do one piece at a time, make sure you've mastered that. And even when you've mastered it, Jim can attest to this. I mean, he's going to tell you because he uses this like I do. It still can go wrong. No matter how much you test it, it still can go wrong, is my only point.
I don't want it to go wrong.
Yeah, but you know what?
I saw your show last week, Jim, and I was just shaking with nervousness.
As long as your sound is good and you can carry your sound through, that is, in my opinion, this is just me giving you my opinion, that's key. Because you can fix whatever else as far as everything else. You have to make sure that the sound comes through that way. That's the important thing. Yeah, why both? There you go. Heather says, yes, you have your hand raised, Jim. And Chris.
Yeah. Now you're talking about when you're doing the voice meter to get rid of the echo and so forth. Now, are you doing that anyway automatically, or do you have to go to voice meter and actually click off on B1 or B2 in order to get that in?
Okay.
That's the thing that I don't know.
Okay. Well, the thing, it can be manual, or you can set it up on your Stream Deck if that's what you mean. Just have a hotkey that turns it on and off if that's what you're asking. That is a possibility. That's what I do a lot of times on Game Show. But I've also, if I'm not using that scene or doing that scene,
you don't have to switch it off.
Exactly. If it's set up properly, you don't ever have to turn off and on that B1. I never ever have to bring your sound into StreamYard or Zoom because your sound is set up that way. I don't want to bring it in twice. So with that example in voice meter, I don't ever have, here, let me go back to screen share. I don't ever have to hit that. I think, wait a minute, no, it's B2, right? Isn't that where you guys, if you guys talk, you're going to hear.
Yeah, we're hearing.
Yes.
So it's doubling up probably, right?
Right.
Not when you talk. And
right.
not when I talk.
No, but you guys do.
Not at the moment.
But somebody does, right? Somebody did.
I did for a minute, but then it seemed to go away.
Right. So so it's doing everything in processing, trying to get it so it doesn't happen. So what it does is it starts to dim your sound or whatever, so that way we don't have the fight there. So I never ever turn that on. I don't have to turn that on. Your sound's coming into Zoom because you're in Zoom. If you're pushing your sound to StreamYard, if you're using whatever, it's coming there. It's already going to StreamYard. All I have to do, so when I do StreamYard, I'm just going to use that as an example. My sound, when I go to audio, I'm pushing aux. And then for here, I'm pushing aux or VIO. I'm sorry, it's not aux, it's VIO. VIO on both of them. So VIO on here is B1. On here, hold on. Golly, I'm sorry. Is B1. But again, that's a whole StreamYard lesson. So B1 is going to StreamYard. Okay. So this is what the people are hearing. When I send this out, because the live show is coming from StreamYard, if I have B1 turned on my mic, on my lavalier mic, on the Windows sounds, or right here on you guys, that's what I don't have to do that with you guys if you're in StreamYard with me. If I'm pushing, if I'm pushing the sound, if I'm pushing the sound.
I'm sorry, Michael.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Whatever.
Well, I just wanted to clarify that the uniqueness of what his settings are, I don't want anybody to go into their voice meter and change their settings to what he's doing unless you do what he's doing. Because the uniqueness of his actions are to have a group of us within Zoom taking that and funneling everything into StreamYard and pushing it out through StreamYard to produce a game show, to, you know, those types of things. When we do the Tinkering with Tech show and we have a guest, that stuff isn't necessary because he doesn't have Zoom going on.
I don't have Zoom.
So I want you to understand the clarity between his settings and what your settings might need to be based on what you are going to use it for. That's all I wanted to get across.
That's a great point, Heather, because yeah, that's something that we deal with because we do a couple of different types of shows. You know, we have the button show, and then we have our backstage pass stuff, and then we have our other workshops that we do. And each one of those can be a different setup. And, you know, when I was trying to learn voice meter, I would listen to Michael's videos and stuff, and I'd go to somebody else's video and they would have it set up completely different.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Michael and I have ours set up differently because I do not do what Michael does. Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Now, aside from voice meter, let's talk about StreamYard and OBS. Let's get back to just these two. So now StreamYard pushes sound out. It pushes it out to the audience. Okay. This is why it's important. If you're going to use your sound from OBS, let's say you're not going to do like I do it. Okay. Like I do it with voice meter. If you go into your settings and you go to audio, you would have here your desktop audio. So that way you can push those desktop audios out there. So when something like this, an opening, if I play the opening, yeah, maybe it might not even find the video. This is the thing about OBS is that it's going to my external hard drive, going to get the file, trying to find it, and then it's going to play it. And it's just locked right now. And it does this. I have to do this before all of our game shows. There you go. There you go. So that's the opening. And you're probably not hearing any sounds because we
heard it a little bit. We heard it a little bit.
Okay. All right.
yeah, it was there.
All right, so this used to be the 12-minute intro before we came on and went live. I used to do this. And so you hear those sounds?
A little bit.
Yeah, because I'm pushing those sounds out to you guys. And this is the sound bouncing right here because it has right here. I think it's here. But it's wonky right now. It's wonky doing some weird things. And this is the issues that you have with OBS.
Yeah, this is a processor issue and I mean, you got to think about it. OBS is reaching out to his external hard drive to find that file.
That's right.
Then play it. So it's a whole, again, this is a unique use case. So this is not how I use it at all.
Right. Exactly.
And I don't have those kind of issues.
See, and here's the deal, because I'm screen sharing, that's why you can hear the sound. I'm going to show you voice meter right now, just to show you. I have no buttons hit for that sound at all. You should not be hearing it.
We don't hear it because it's coming through our speakers. We hear it because it's coming through your speakers, and that's why it's really loud for you because it's in your headset. We don't hear it like that.
You don't hear it? Okay, so if I did turn that on, then you would hear it.
There, now we hear it. Now it's in our speaker.
Yeah, okay, all right, so there. So I do have to have that on. So voice meter, I have to have that on. So there you go. So you can hear that music being played or doing whatever. So there you go. So that's how I get that sound to come in. Now, what you would do if you had this in OBS and you wanted OBS to pull the sounds, you would go to settings, audio, and I would change my desktop sounds to whichever one, like whatever your headset is or speakers or whatever it is. Just your NVIDIA card, I think, is what you would choose, whatever you use for sound there. And then for your microphones, whatever your microphone, you might choose your microphone. Like mine is, here's my webcam one. Here's my microphone, my Samsung. I don't even have it hooked up, but I could, whatever. Any of these kind of things you can choose and pick. All right. So those would pick your microphone if you're using OBS for your sound. If you're not using OBS for your sound, don't pick it. Yes, go ahead.
But then to take the sound from OBS and put it into your StreamYard, so that way it's going out to your audience, you then need to make those changes within StreamYard.
Over here, yeah, audio, they have to match.
To come to OBS. So they're sourcing from OBS at that point.
Yep.
And I wouldn't mess with any of it, Michael.
Yeah, I'm not, but so that I really feel like sound is the most important thing. If you can get sound first, going back to what Ron said, if I can give you any advice, make sure your sound works no matter what you're doing or what you're trying to do. Make sure if your guest is going to screen share, that's okay. So one of the things I would suggest, just Jim, like on your show, what I would have done, I would have had Jolyn come into the backstage pass early in Zoom and just bring her resource in and use your resource in StreamYard so you can pull yourselves in camera by yourself, put it wherever you want. You could put her wherever you want and just use your virtual camera on StreamYard the whole time. Then that way it's separate where you can put it in. If she comes into StreamYard, now you're trying to pick her camera up at the same time, so it's looping. So that's where you get into looping errors. And also
that was the problem. That was not the problem.
Okay, I'm just giving you a suggestion. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not being critical. I'm not challenging you. That's not what it is. And it may have been a totally different.
I hear
all
that.
I'm saying is that's what I would suggest.
What happened was something completely different.
Okay.
What happened was I set up the StreamYard because this was the first time I wanted to go to Facebook and to YouTube at the same time. Normally, when we do our show, I just use OBS and go to YouTube.
YouTube, right? Yeah.
So I set up the YouTube show, and then I went back and set up the StreamYard, and StreamYard sends out at 720. My YouTube is looking for 1080. And when I set up the StreamYard stream to YouTube manually, I didn't let StreamYard set up the YouTube, which that would have I think that would have solved everything. What happened was, since I did it in two pieces and I did the manual YouTube in the StreamYard setup, so the two things that it streamed to, and when I started the stream, it crashed the YouTube side. The Facebook side was fine, but YouTube was saying, I'm expecting 1080, you're sending 720, and it messed up. So what I did is I stopped the StreamYard from from that stream, and I started OBS to the YouTube, which was more important to me. So now I'm restreaming to YouTube to make the whole thing work. I forgot about Facebook. So the next time, in order to alleviate that problem, I will just use StreamYard to set up the two streams that I want. So it goes to the Facebook page and to my YouTube page or my YouTube account.
Now, does anybody understand that? Are you blown away right now?
Yes, I understand.
Are you absolutely?
I was in it.
absolutely blown away. So
Yeah.
you're probably blown away right now as far as that goes. But
So
yeah,
I-
no,
yeah, well,
That's understandable, Jim. I appreciate that you figured it out.
I scrambled, but
so Ron, that should answer your things too about make sure, and I think, and Heather's, it's both of you guys. I think that answers before
Right.
you get, OBS can be overwhelming. Let me just put it that way. It can be overwhelming. It can. A lot of people are like, oh my God, I tried it. I couldn't do it. But if you do one scene at a time, like if you go back and watch a couple of my OBS workshops, they're on our website. I'll give you the link, Ron, if you need it, because I know that you don't look there, but no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You
No,
record
but
them?
yeah, I do. I do
Do you
record.
really?
no, but that seriously, you're going to get a lot of information from that'll help you with setting up that one scene or that one source. I recently did a video showing how to use Zoom. Okay. Get your StreamYard comments into Zoom. I mean, I'm pushing the envelope. I do things to just push to see what I can do, and it works. It's just,
Yeah, I think Heather's comments were very good. And, we've just started streaming our show. We've just started streaming our show and as well. And I was really nervous the first week we did it, right?
Mhm.
And, we're now into our third week and everything's going fine. So I feel more confident.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. But I'd like to use OBS in my Zoom for Zoom in the show, because I think we could do some more things with it.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Hashtag Heather's comments are right. Hold on, Heather. I got rid of it.
I think it was Heather's always right. But anyway, so here's one thing that I will say. I love the idea of starting small and, picking that one thing, and maybe you added a new thing every week, but you don't have to. I mean, you really should not put that kind of pressure on yourself. I think that we get lost in all the bells and whistles. And I had made the comment earlier, and John said she'd like to hear more, but I did not use StreamYard because of the bells and whistles. I use both OBS with StreamYard for one reason. Is the entire reason why I started it was because I could not stream in my current conditions. You guys have probably heard me say this before, but I'm going to say it again. I have Wi-Fi. I'm in an apartment on the back of the property. Okay. Our internet is in the main house, 50 feet away, minimum. So I'm on a Wi-Fi connection. And at the time when I started, I did not have Google Wi-Fi puck that was bringing the Wi-Fi into this apartment. So I was using what are those things called, hotspots and junk like that to try and get a stream out. And I will tell you right now, Twitch don't like that. So, and YouTube is okay sometimes, but for the most part, I would have buffering issues. I would have all kinds. It just made it so frustrating. And Ron, you talk about being nervous. I have been live streaming for over 8 years now. I was never as nervous as I was not knowing what my internet would do. Every single show was nerve-wracking because you have no control over that, and you don't even know what's going on until the comments finally show up and say, I can't watch your show anymore. It's just not working. I hope to catch you next time. How heartbreaking it is when you know you've put in all this effort.
Right.
So I get it. I totally am with you. When StreamYard came along, when Michael introduced me to StreamYard, it's browser based. So that means as long as I have an internet connection to a browser, I'm good. They do all of the work of that heavy lifting of processing the stream out. So for me, StreamYard was a boom, like I'm on it right away. This is prior to OBS action, okay? But in looking at how StreamYard operates, you can only bring in one camera. I could use a secondary device, and I could come in with another device the way Michael and I are in here at the same time. I could be in here with my other phone or, some other camera, but it made it difficult for sound. I mean, really, the biggest problem we found right away was sound, because there's a loop going on because they don't separate their sound. I know that gets complicated, but the bottom line is No matter what I muted, no matter what I did, I could not get that sound to not loop. So it was a terrible way to do my show, which required this camera and the desk camera. I couldn't do it. I had to bring in OBS. So I go and I learn OBS, and I was terrified. Michael will tell you, I did not want to do this. This thing looks like an engineer's nightmare. I don't want to do this. And understanding what a scene was and what sources were, and I had everything mixed up and all kinds of junk was going on. I watched Michael's videos. I was participating in these workshops. I still couldn't get it right, but I kept at it and I kept working at it. Now I have a stream deck where I push buttons to fall through all of my different sources and my different scenes. And I can go from just by doing goofy things like this, or I can move over to my desk where the lights aren't on, or I can put up a little wheel, or I can have my phone, or I can be sitting here with my friends, or I can do tinkering with tech. You know, it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I can do all of these things with this button because I took the time to learn, and then I practiced and practiced and practiced, and I still make mistakes. I don't know how to get away from that. I mean, after 8 years of doing this, mistakes are just a part of the process, and you either learn to roll with them, or you quit.
It is.
Really,
it's part of
yeah.
live streams. In my opinion,
Yeah.
it's part of live streams. If you
100%.
wanted to go watch
You wanted it perfect.
go watch TV. Go watch TV.
Well, more than that, you need to then record, edit, and produce perfect videos. That's the only way you do that. Record them, so you can edit out any mistakes and you can fix any issues and you can correct the coloring and you can correct the sound and all the stuff that you need to do. Just do a video and edit then. But honestly, perfection kills creativity, and you're a creative being. So just go do what you want to do, which is share this stuff with people.
Try a couple things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I love it. I think that's awesome.
I'm off my soapbox now.
No, I think that's important to what we talked about. You know, we're the whole topic of this was why OBS with StreamYard, or why not? Maybe we should change it to have the or why not, because StreamYard will do all the stuff pretty much that you want to do and get out and push it out. I mean, for the most part, you know, people ask me all the time, you know, about StreamYard and they say, oh, you do all this stuff with OBS, like the game show and everything. Why do you even use StreamYard? The only reason I use StreamYard, because the most important thing to me, and you probably heard me say this numerous times, is engagement, is that person watching. If I want to go watch a talking head show, I'll go watch TV. If I want to watch something where I can be a part of it and bring the people in, I want full page comment. I don't even want me on screen. I keep asking StreamYard, give us a full page comment. That's what we used to have with Comment Tracker. I could care less. I ask Zoom, I send Zoom. Let us just put the comment up on screen, so that way when you're recording, that comment comes up when you're talking about it. If you bring it, that would be amazing to have that show up. I asked Zoom, I asked Google Meet, because I'm a Google product expert. I said, if you want to be different than everybody else, in your meetings, when you record them, have it where the comment can come up. That is productivity, and that is your engagement, because otherwise you just get up there and do a webinar. Webinar is different. Webinars, me speaking, and I can do quick Q&A and all that kind of stuff and everything. But for me, if you want an interactive meeting or an interactive show, I tell Heather, how many times have you and I had this conversation forever? I say, put every comment up.
Every comment.
I do. And she'll say no, because there's conversation going out there and we don't need those comments up. And she's right.
I mean, I don't want to see up on the screen, hey, which part of New York were you born in? Like, that doesn't make sense unless we were talking about New York, because that doesn't make sense, not relevant. So I don't put those up. But you guys are talking about co-hosts. Co-hosts are very important. They are not to be discounted at all. They make the show much smoother for the host.
They do.
However, they're not a requirement. I want you to understand that it's not requirement, because I've had people go, gosh, I would love to do what you're doing if only I had a helper like you do. It's not, I mean, I didn't have one for the first entire year of streaming. I didn't have a single person helping me, whatever. For an entire year in between all that stuff, when I was had the bad Wi-Fi and all this stuff. I didn't have anybody helping me. I was doing it by myself. It is totally possible to do it by yourself. Is it better with someone else? Heck yeah. Is it better to have that conversation and to have somebody, you know, catch you when you fall? Absolutely. 100%. But it is not required. You got to be able to take that weight off your shoulders if you don't have someone who can.
So I think we got the biggest thing. I don't want this to go on forever. And Jim, I saw you raise your hand. I'll get to you in a second. The biggest thing I got out of this is why OBS with StreamYard and why not? I think that's really what I gathered out of this, because sometimes you feel like you need something, but you really don't.
Right.
If you wanted to you could put a full screen up, a full page screen that you share on StreamYard that has all those credentials, your YouTube, your Twitch, your whatever. There's other ways to do these things if you really want. Bring an overlay up that has that information down below your 2 images. There's things you can do. I do it because I think it adds a lot, especially like on the game show. I can add elements where the screen's flowing off and doing these kind of things, and I can change the squares around. I can put people here. You know, I like to challenge myself and try and do those things, but you don't have to. That's exactly, I think, what Heather was kind of getting to. You don't have to. She told you why she went to that, because she needed to have the camera down. She needed to have the camera here. That makes total sense. Jim, you wanted a question you wanted to say? Or
Yes.
Chris?
Chris's.
I just one question on StreamYard. He convinced me to use StreamYard to record my videos, not the live stream, but to record, because of the easy way of going between my screen share, my face, or both. And I cannot pause the recording. Is there any way?
No, not a StreamYard recording. No.
That's what I
They
thought.
don't-
I could not find a way.
No, they don't have that capability. Really, be honest with you, I think Zoom is actually the only one that I know of that actually does pause a live.
Yeah, because
Record.
even in OBS, when you're doing it, you can't pause.
You can't pause.
you
I mean,
Stop or
Yes,
start.
you can.
Yes, you
OBS
can.
you can.
Yes, you can.
That's new.
I've done it with OBS, but I really like the simplicity of StreamYard. But
Interesting.
there is, I cannot find any pause.
And I keep beating on her to learn OBS.
Is it? Oh, there is pause. Oh, that's cool.
That's
There-
new. Fairly new.
That is new, because I did not. I use OBS to record all of my videos and then go in and edit them and put them into the quick videos that I put in. And I have never seen that pause, so it is very new.
Well, you also have to have the settings set right. There's a particular setting that needs to be different for recording versus streaming, and only if you have that setting on do you have the pause. I don't remember what it was, but
It's the format, I think.
No pause in StreamYard, Mert. No pause.
No.
No pause in StreamYard.
Yep. So, yeah, they again, their idea is not okay. So when StreamYard, it's more of streaming versus being a recording
Yeah.
studio and everything else and all that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of times people are asking for these features. It's just like, okay, will we be able to do this on mobile? Will we be able to do this on the Pixel phone? Can we do this on the iPad? They want ease of use straight across, so they don't have to sit there and answer questions and say, no, you can't do that on that day. Oh, you can on this device, but not that device. It's so much easier with help and tech help when you can just, their focus is ease of use for everyone, and good live, productive live stream, whatever. They don't want you embellishing it and adding all this other stuff, because then you do have questions about, oh my gosh, is this going to work, or et cetera, and all that kind of stuff. I know, Mert, you had your hand raised. Did you want to say something?
I went to StreamYard just because I wanted to record, and I missed the pause that was available in Zoom. But in Zoom, even with a business account, which I have, if you're recording just you doing something, like painting a picture or whatever, it's not HD quality. It's only HD for group. And it's very aggravating, because when you're talking artistic things, it's got to look sharp.
Yeah, with what I do, it's more important, I think, to have video than it is to have sound. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't hear me talking, it's not nearly as bad as you can't see me painting with a paintbrush.
We can
So,
still get the effect of
yeah.
exactly how you do that with the
Yeah, and
brush.
Zoom was not an option for that because it is a horrible quality video.
You're telling me. Yeah.
You could come in with your cell phone and just show yourself. And that way you have multiple people in there. I'm just throwing that out there, but whatever.
Well, I've thought of it, but then
Yeah.
where that craft room is, the cell
Mhm.
phone isn't good. You know, all those,
I
that's how
do.
it goes.
I do. I do. You know, but you know me too. I like to tinker and push the envelope. So,
Yes.
all right. I am going to wrap this up as far as the recording. We can talk further. Does anybody else have any other questions on the StreamYard and OBS part of it, so we can answer something for you if you have something? If not, and thank you, Heather. Great contribution too on that, because a great use case as far as explaining that too. Anybody else have anything?
This is excellent. Thank you.
Pleasure. Absolutely. We can stay and chat further, but I want to end the recording just because anybody that's rewatching is going to be like, oh my God, would they please
Hold on,
just
hold
shut
on.
up?
Did you end it yet? Hold on. Before
No.
you do, Andrew says, I got to put this in here. Push the envelope. You make totally new envelopes.
It is true. It is true. All right. I will stop the recording then. And this will be on the website, so you can always go back. I'm going to try to, what I'm trying to do with all of our shows is go back and put chapters in, or yeah, is it chapters? Yeah, chapters. And then when I do this, I'll try and do the same thing here, so we can, when we talked about certain things, so you can go back and just look at it. So I'm going to stop. Yes, I want